Here we are again. Here we are again. I didn't want to do it. I was hoping and praying I was not going to have to do it. But ladies and gentlemen, I am a man of my word. And you guys are going to get it tonight right here on the Legit Shoot podcast. I promise the rant of the century, and I will not let the people down. I am a man of the people. And you guys are going to get it. You guys are going to get it. But before we get into it, I got to say, yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitz on TV here, a.k.a. G-Lauren33. Welcome to the Legit Shoot podcast. Welcome to your official WWE Summerslam 2020 full show review and results. Thank you guys so much for joining me on the podcast. No matter if you guys are watching live, no matter if you guys are watching on playback, thank you guys so much for joining me. But you guys are going to get it. The rant of the century tonight. And you guys know what I'm talking about. We're talking about Sasha Banks. The best female wrestler in the world. The GOAT. She once again lost the Raw Women's Championship to Asuka. It was a fantastic match. Match of the night, in my opinion. And we're going to talk about it. And I've been saying for weeks now, if Sasha lost to Asuka at SummerSlam, I was going to absolutely go off. And I will. I do want to save a little of my energy tonight because this is probably going to be a long podcast. It's going to be a long review. But you guys are going to get that rant a little bit later. Don't worry. We're going to go off. And yes, before all you fools come into the chat and say, there's a bigger story here with Sasha Banks and Bayley. I know that. I've been saying that for the last year. I've been saying that since Sasha was drafted to SmackDown back in October of 2019. I've been saying that. So don't come with me with that bull crap. Don't come to me with that at all. Stop it. And before anybody says Asuka needed to win tonight, then what was the fucking point of putting the title on Sasha? Tell me. But, let me stop myself before I go too far. Right? Let me stop myself. But trust me, you guys are going to get the rant. That's just a little bit of a snippet of what you guys are going to get tonight. But, either way, there's a lot more to talk about on the podcast tonight. We got to talk about the ending. The Roman Empire has returned. Roman Reigns is back, and he has come to reclaim his throne. And the Fiend's career might as well be over. Might as well. The Fiend might as well come out tomorrow and retire because his career is done. When I saw that they were doing Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre before the Universal title match, when I saw that they were doing Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre not in the main event tonight, I knew something was up. Because who in their right mind, who would think that Braun Strowman, of all people, deserves to be in the main event of a WWE pay-per-view? Especially SummerSlam, of all pay-per-views. But it all makes sense. Roman's back. Some of us thought Roman was not going to come back till next year, the Royal Rumble. Some of us thought Roman wouldn't be back until WrestleMania season. Some of us thought Roman wouldn't be back till there was a vaccine for COVID. Some of us thought that Roman Reigns would not be back, period. Nah, Roman's back, boys. Roman Reigns is back. And the Fiend's career is buried. I can't believe it, bro. Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. Fantastic match. But the ending was atrocious. And it makes sense, right? We have another pay-per-view next week. Next week, we have another pay-per-view, y'all. WWE Payback. 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 Payback's a bitch, all right. I want payback on everybody. Everybody that scripted Sasha Banks wrong in the last 5 years. Oh, I want payback, all right. Dominic versus Seth Rollins. Great. But where do we go from here? Someone tell me that, please. How long till Dominic and Ray win the Raw Tag Team Championships? I'm just asking. Those are just some of the thoughts that are going through my head. The big things coming through my head coming out of SummerSlam. But overall, before we even get into the review, I gotta be honest. You guys know I'm brutally honest here on the podcast. Even though I sound angry because I am angry because of Sasha Banks. But at the end of the day, SummerSlam was a good show. We can bitch, we can moan, we can complain all we want about some of the endings we saw tonight. We can bitch and moan and complain all we want about WWE Thunderdome, even though me personally, I like WWE Thunderdome. It's growing on me week by week. Or day by day. It hasn't even been a week yet, but you guys get my point. WWE Thunderdome is growing on me. But no matter what, no matter how angry I am, I got to stay objective. SummerSlam tonight was a good show. The build-up was terrible, just like almost every pay-per-view. But for some reason, WWE somehow finds a way to give us a good pay-per-view almost every month. I don't know what it is, but the in-ring action tonight was great. The matches were great. It's just some of the endings. And like I said, if Sasha Banks had retained tonight, I would be in a much better mood. But still, I gotta be honest, I gotta be objective. WWE SummerSlam was a good show tonight. I'm looking in the chat right now. Ultra Instinct Paul. Me and Paul and a bunch of our other friends, we were watching SummerSlam on Discord. Definitely. I want to apologize. I did not do a SummerSlam live stream reaction stream. All right. I apologize for that. I usually always do when it comes to these big shows. But, and if you guys saw my reaction when Sasha lost tonight, bro, it would have been legendary. But either way, it was a good show. I do apologize for not doing the SummerSlam reaction stream. You know, that's my bad. I got caught up with SummerSlam itself. And I just forgot to actually turn the stream on. But still, my apologies. But thank you guys for joining me here on the podcast. And it's been a long week. All right. Before we get into SummerSlam tonight, couple of nuggets. All right. If you guys haven't checked out my NXT TakeOver 30 review, we had the stream last night, depending when you guys are watching this. It was about 50 minutes long. I went over the show. And like I said, I know WWE too well. Keith Lee is going to be debuting on Monday Night Raw tomorrow night. I called it on the NXT TakeOver review. They're pulling a Bobby Roode, pulling a Shinsuke Nakamura. Keith Lee's not going to be re-challenging Karrion Kross, even though I heard that Karrion Kross suffered a separated shoulder in his match with Keith Lee. And I got to give what's his name? I got to give Karrion Kross credit for fighting on through those extreme circumstances. But Keith Lee will be going to the main roster. I did call it. If you guys haven't checked out the NXT TakeOver 30 review, it is live on the channel right now. So go check it out after the SummerSlam review. But tomorrow night, depending on when you guys are watching this, I will be live right after Monday Night Raw. The Raw after SummerSlam. Keith Lee's going to be debuting. Who knows what else is in store? I'm going to say it right now. I believe Adam Cole in the Undisputed Era. I'm going to make this prediction right now. I think they will be debuting on SmackDown this Friday. All right? There's nothing else for Keith Lee and Adam Cole to do. Keith Lee's going straight up to the main roster. I think Adam Cole's going to be debuting this Friday on SmackDown. We may even get the announcement tomorrow night on Raw. But tomorrow night, Raw is going to be a big one. The Raw after SummerSlam, Keith Lee's debut. So definitely, that's going to be hype. So if you guys are new to the channel and you guys enjoyed the SummerSlam review, make sure to join me right back here tomorrow night for the Monday Night Raw review. All right, just want to make that announcement really quick. Definitely, and Sasha and Bailey stuff. Hopefully, we get an angle on that tomorrow night. But also later this week, we're gonna have the SmackDown review. So definitely check it out for that. And guys, we have a pay-per-view. We have another pay-per-view next week. I keep forgetting that. So sometime, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe Saturday or Sunday morning next week. because we have no idea what's going to be on the card for Payback. I don't agree with WWE doing a pay-per-view a week after SummerSlam, but clearly I think we're just going to see a bunch of rematches for this show. Plus, we'll probably see like Roman Reigns versus the Fiend for the Universal title, which we'll talk about that tonight on the podcast as well. But I'll be right back here. Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, Payback preview and predictions sometime either Saturday or Sunday, depending on how things go. And I'll be right back here next week with your official Payback review. Let me know, do you guys want me to do a Payback live stream? I usually only do live reaction streams for big shows. But if Payback has a big card, I'll be on Discord with my friends again. If you guys want me to do a live reaction stream, definitely hit a like on the video right now. Let me know right now. All right? But either way, those are the big announcements I wanted to make opening up the podcast here tonight. One more time, thank you guys so much for joining me. Let's get into SummerSlam tonight. We are going to get the rant of the century here in a little bit. But we got some other things we got to cover before that. So getting into it, you'll never see it coming. There was definitely some shit on this show that I did not see coming. But definitely, all in all, SummerSlam was a good show. But on the pre-show, we had Apollo Crews versus MVP for the United States title. I predicted, if you guys saw my preview and prediction show on Friday, I predicted that this match would be on the pre-show. If there was going to be any match that was going to be on the pre-show, it was going to be this one. And that's definitely what we got with Crews and MVP. I didn't agree with this match happening to begin with. I was hoping we would get Crews versus Lashley. I've been bitching and moaning about this. We've already got it, Apollo versus MVP 2 or 3 times in the last month. And this is SummerSlam, your second biggest show of the year. What are Apollo MVP going to do that we haven't already seen them do already? It's just that serious, bro. Like, come on. So I knew we were not going to get that match tonight. Like I said, you guys are active in the chat. Don't worry, guys. Everyone wants to hear my rant on Sasha, guys. Just hold on. Give me like maybe 15, 20 minutes to get through this other stuff. We are going to go ham when we get to the Sasha versus Asuka stuff. Don't worry. All right? It is. You guys have been waiting a couple weeks for that, and I never disappoint. I never disappoint my fans. Anyway, like I said, I never agreed with Apollo versus MVP happening to begin with. The only thing that, this match really had is this was the last appearance for Renee Young. It was reported earlier in the week that Renee Young would be leaving WWE. I know she's doing some other big things, like her cooking channel. She has a cookbook coming out, but I'm scared. I don't want to see Renee Young in AEW. And, there was some big plans for Renee Young earlier in the year. She was supposed to be like the face of the WWE division at Fox, but COVID came and ruined everything. I thought Renee would be one of those people, even though her husband Moxley is in AEW, I thought Renee Young would stay in WWE for a long time, and it's really sad to see her go. I'm always for, people and personalities going out into the world, going for big things, but I will honestly be very sad. And as much as I shit on WWE, I would be very sad if we end up seeing, Renee Young in AEW down the line. I will be sad. When I saw Mike Chioda, and when I saw Mike Chioda in AEW a couple weeks ago, my heart sank a little bit. I was like, how can WWE let somebody that legendary go? And Renee Young, I think honestly, Renee Young will one day go into the Hall of Fame. She's done a lot in her. I think she was with the company for almost a decade. So definitely, sad to see Renee Young go. I think she will be in the Hall of Fame one day for WWE. Maybe she'll come back, but I pray. I wish Renee all the success, in whatever she does, past WWE with her cooking or whatever she plans to do. She's a great person, great personality. But I would actually be really sad if we end up seeing Renee in AEW down the line. That's not right. That's not right. Look into the chat. Yo really want the Sasha rant, bro. Just be patient. It's coming. All right, be patient. But getting into the match itself, nothing really happened. Nothing really happened. Like I said, the match wasn't that good. What were Cruz and MVP gonna do in this match that we haven't already seen them do already? Like, come on, let's be serious here, people. I wasn't hyped for this in the first place. But MVP controlled the match for most of it. He had Lashley and Benjamin at ringside. We saw MVP go for the playmaker, but Cruz escaped, and he beat MVP with the toss power bomb again. Great job there. We've seen the same exact finish just 2 weeks ago on WWE TV on Monday Night Raw. What was the point of putting this match on pay-per-view? What? So what? We have Payback next Sunday. Is that when we're going to finally see Cruz versus Lashley? Because we've seen Lashley beat Cruz multiple times over the last couple weeks. So, I don't know. But definitely, if it's not Cruz versus Lashley, if that's not the next program for the United States title, then I really honestly don't care. I really don't care. It's a bunch of nonsense. Bunch of nonsense. All right, but match wasn't anything special. There's a reason why I was on the pre-show. After the match, we saw Benjamin and Lashley try to hit the ring, but Cruz was able to escape. So Cruz versus Lashley better be the next program. You know, you have Payback. I don't think you need much of a story here between Cruz and Lashley. So we'll just have to see where it goes from here. But moving on. Now, getting on to the main card. The first match of the night. And like I said, WWE Thunderdome is growing on me. I love what they were doing with the effects, especially for some of the entrances, like the Fiend's entrance. Sasha's entrance was great tonight. McIntyre had a fantastic entrance here. But they had some really, it's growing on me. I gotta be honest. The Thunderdome is growing on me. I gotta give credit to Vince and Dunn. No matter how much we shit on creative, they did a really good job with the Thunderdome. My only thing is, they need to fix the crowd volume. That's the only thing. There's some points where the crowd's quiet. There's other points where the crowd is loud. But all in all, I really do like the way the WWE Thunderdome looks. So I gotta give it. I told you guys I was gonna give it a couple shows, and I've came to the verdict that WWE Thunderdome is a success, in my opinion. But the show started off. We got Asuka versus Bayley, and I had a feeling this match could start off the show. We just didn't know how it was going to be done. We didn't know if they were going to do Bayley versus Asuka in one match and then have Sasha and Asuka happen right after. Remember, that was set up by the Beat the Clock challenge that happened on SmackDown. Or if they were going to do one match early in the show and do another match later in the show. They obviously went with the latter scenario. And the show started off with there was a really good promo here. Really good. Like I said, WWE's really good when it comes to video packages. But we had Asuka make her way to the ring, and then we had Bayley. Bayley had a nice new blue ring gear on tonight. Sasha came out wearing her chalk line jacket, which, you know, she looks amazing. And Sasha looks amazing in anything, but I loved how she came out with the chalk line jacket tracksuit that released a couple months ago. But this was a really good match. Really, it's Bayley and Asuka. What can I really say? We've seen this match multiple times, you know, in NXT back when Bayley was still babyface and Asuka, you know, was still undefeated. We saw it about a month ago on the main roster. We've seen it in tag team matches. We saw it 2 weeks ago when Asuka defeated Bayley for the SmackDown Women's title. And one of the stories going on here is Bayley losing. Bayley seems to always lose in matches that don't matter, but when it comes to her title matches, she seems to get the job done. You know, Bayley had a really good springbone stunner, you know, channeling her inner John Cena and Kevin Owens and Stone Cold there. And we saw Bayley went also for a Bayley to belly. Asuka kicked out of that. Then we see Asuka mount a comeback, and she was pushing the pace, you know, pushing the momentum, doing her normal Asuka thing. And then we saw Asuka, she delivers a running hip attack. Bayley kicked out at 2. Then we see Bayley drives Asuka knee into the middle frame, vicious spot. And then we saw Bayley go after Asuka's knee, which would come into play in the Sasha and Asuka match later on. Then we see Asuka hit a code breaker for another close 2 count. Bayley answers that she had a really good looking knee bar. Like, Bayley's submission game is very underrated. We know how good Sasha and Asuka are when it comes to submissions, but Bayley, man, so underrated when it comes to this. And like I said, Bayley and Sasha, other than, Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre, they have easily been the best things from this whole WWE Performance Center era. Then we see Asuka. Asuka goes for a running hip attack, but Sasha, and this would play into the rant of the century coming a little bit later on in the podcast. But basically Sasha pulls Bayley out of the way, takes Asuka's hip attack, right? So saving her best friend Bayley, knowing that she would have a match against Asuka herself for the Raw Women's Championship later on in the night. So she pushes Bayley out the way, takes the blow for herself. All right, this distraction leads to Bayley pinning, rolling up Asuka for the win. 1, 2, 3. Bayley retains the SmackDown Women's Championship. Not really surprised here, but this would terrify me for what would happen later on in the night, which we'll get to in a little bit. After the match, we see Sasha. She jumps Asuka. Bayley joined in. They slammed her to the mat with a double team attack. Just to gain, that competitive advantage for later on in the night. So this was a really good match. It's Bayley and Asuka. Nothing surprised here, but the big thing here was the ending. How would that ending favor? And they did something really cool here. So after the match, they had Sasha and Bayley backstage. And if you guys have seen like the WrestleMania pay-per-views back in the day, they would have like an interview section like that would happen before the match. That's what this reminded me of. So they had Kayla Braxton interviewing Sasha and Bayley, and Bayley had a broomstick, and they were sweeping it, sweep. Loved it. And basically Kayla asked, "Oh, Sasha came into play for you tonight, right? Sasha made the save for you. Will you be able to, give the favor back later on in Sasha's title defense?" Sasha said, "No matter what happens, if Bayley can defeat Asuka, I can too." And Sasha walked away. And Bayley said that the era of the Golden Road models would continue. And yeah, so I like that little pre-match interview they did, and we would get Sasha and Asuka a little bit later on. Rant of the century, guys, is coming in a little bit. All right, but moving on. We had a Raw Tag Team Championship match here. We had the Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza. I was not hyped for this match. If you guys saw my preview prediction show and my Raw reviews, I've been saying they gave away this match. 2 or 3 times. Just like they've done Apollo Crews and MVP. We've seen this match. The night after Extreme Rules, we saw Garza and Andrade go up against the Street Profits. It was non-title, and it was a good match. But it was like, the Street Profits won clean. And you're sitting there like, why are Garza and Andrade going to get another shot? They lost clean tonight. They have no claim towards another match. But then the week after, they do a triple threat number 1 contender match with Ricochet and Cedric Alexander, the Viking Raiders, and Garza and Andrade win. It's like, why would you have Garza and Andrade lose clean to the champions the week before just to have the match 1 week later for them to become number 1 contenders? Like, what sense does it make? It's like WWE's logic. They don't freaking think. They never think. It's like the week-to-week booking, bro. Then they did the whole Poison storyline, right? With freaking, what's her name? Zelina poisoning Montez Ford's Red Solo Cup, which was revealed on Monday Night Raw. They never brought in the factor of, when Bianca Belair, Ford's husband or Ford's wife, attacking Zelina at her house. They never brought that into play. Like, come on, bro. So disappointing. But whatever. But this match was about, Street Profits getting payback on Garza and Andrade for all their antics. They had KO come out. KO came out wearing a Street Profits shirt and a nice little tie, being on commentary. I wish KO could stay on commentary a little bit more and replace that clown Byron Saxton, Byron Saxton still does not know how to dress. What the hell was he wearing tonight, bro? What was Byron Saxton wearing tonight? Wearing a pink suit jacket and a blue tie? Get the hell out of here, bro. Byron Saxton, it's not Easter. It's not Easter. It's not Breast Cancer Awareness Month either. Craig Sager is rolling around in his grave with the way this dude, Byron Saxton, be dressing every single week. Bunch of nonsense. Anyway, KO was on commentary. Ford was hyped up and, fired up and focused. Sent Andrade to the floor. Launched himself over the top rope at his opponent. Then we saw Andrade and Garza. They caught him. Slammed him black first into the arena floor. Then the heels took over. Then we see Ford tagging Angelo Dawkins to get the hot tag. But then Ford would tag himself back in. And there was a point, Zelina Vega, she got up on the ring apron. And then Garza got sent flying into Vega. This distraction, because Garza went to check in on Zelina. This would allow Andrade to get distracted as well. Ford was able to hit the from the heavens. The only good thing about Tom Phillips when he's on commentary is when he says, from the heavens. Like, they need to add that line in the next WWE video game. But from the heavens, Ford hits the best-looking frog splash in the business outside of Sasha Banks. And that's how the Street Profits get the win. First of all, the Street Profits, I gotta say, they had some, I don't know what the hell that ring gear was tonight. I'm sitting here complaining about Byron Saxton's ring gear. Hell, the Street Profits over here acting like they just got partnered with Lucky Charms. Huh? How long till we see the Street Profits on a cereal box of Lucky Charms? Like John Cena was with the freaking Fruity Loops. Or Fruity Pebbles back in the day. Ridiculous. Street Profits out here looking like a bunch of leprechauns, bro. I was not feeling that ring gear tonight. But anyway, Street Profits retain. I don't know. We could easily see this match happen again at WWE Payback because we know how lazy WWE is. But wasn't a bad match. I could honestly say probably their match on Monday Night Raw was better. It was probably better, but it was something. I see Edward Jones. Edward Jones says in the chat, Vince doesn't give a damn about his black wrestlers. Rant of the century coming here in a little bit. I'm just going to leave it at that. Anyway, moving on. Like I said, we'll probably see this match again at Payback next week. It's Payback. Legit. We're going to see a bunch of rematches from SummerSlam. Excuse me. Next up, we had no DQ. Loser leaves WWE match. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Remember, this was originally supposed to be a hair versus hair match, but it got changed to this no disqualification match. And we all know the big story with what happened to Sonya Deville, how she was almost kidnapped at her home last week. And I love the support that Sonya's been getting. I think she's one of the most underrated talents in the company, and one day could potentially be a women's champion if WWE builds her up correctly. But I love the sympathy she's been getting, and I also got to give WWE credit. I know they probably asked Sonya this before, but for them to bring that outside factor, I love when WWE brings reality, real life factors into their storytelling, and it worked here. It worked here a lot. And I knew that this was going to be good because Mandy and Sonya, they haven't been used correctly. And these two, they've done a pretty good well telling this story. And I knew coming into this match, those two were going to be hungry to put on a good performance here. And that's exactly what they did. They put on a show-stealing performance here. And this was great. One of the underrated performances of the night with Mandy and Sonya. But this was really good, and I'm very proud of these two women for what they went out and did tonight. But getting into the match itself, Sonya came out. She had her normal black ring attire. Mandy came out. You could tell her hair was covered in gel. It was flattened. Like I said, I'm not used to Mandy without the hair yet, but it works for her. It worked for her, but it looked a little weird. Some people, I saw some people on Twitter call this the best feud in all of WWE this year. I'm not gonna say it's not. I gotta think about it, but definitely the feud definitely reached a very good conclusion. This thing has been going on since what, February, March, all the way now to SummerSlam, and definitely a great conclusion tonight. It was intense. It was fast paced. It was emotional. It was physical. So Rose stuck first. She had a really good suplex on the entrance ramp. And I knew this was going to be a showcase for the wrestlers because we don't get to really see Mandy and Sonya get to showcase what they can actually do in the ring that often. We saw she drove Deville into the guardrail. She then hit up with a beautiful flying clothesline off the announce table. Then we saw Mandy. She tried to set up a table at ringside, but Deville hit her with a chair to the midsection, and then she took control of the match. Then we saw Deville. She had Mandy in a dragon sleeper, and also a leg scissors. Sonya did a very good job of showing not only her physical game, but her submission game as well. We saw Rose fight through it, and both were trash talking each other. I love it. That emotional intensity there, man. We know these two are still friends in real life, but per the storyline, they're supposed to hate one another. And they really did a good job selling to the fact that, at least per storyline, they did not like one another. And we see Rose starting to fight back in that babyface comeback. We saw Deville then set her up on the announce table. And we saw Rose threw a chair at Mandy's face, but she was able to dodge. Then Sonya hit her with a pump kick to the face. Rose then delivered a running knee and then hit a second and then a third. So 3 running knees, and they all looked good right on the button. Then we saw a double underhood, fake face buster, and a 4th knee to the face. So Rose really brought the intensity here. And after the 4th knee, she got the hard-earned victory here over Sonya Deville. And I predicted that Rose would get the win because it made the most sense. You already had Sonya cut off her hair and all that. So Mandy, this feud was not going to end until Mandy got the upper hand. Because Sonya would have just kept attacking Mandy until Mandy had enough and had finally ended this. And this was smart per storyline because people are like, oh, freaking casuals on Twitter. They're like, oh, Sonya's really fired? No. There was no reports of Sonya or Mandy leaving WWE before that. This was originally supposed to be a hair versus hair match. What happened here is... Oh, is that my boy Robert in the chat? Lil Day for the win. My boy Robert's in the chat. What's good, bro? The rant for Sasha is coming. It's coming. Y'all are really hyped about it. It's coming. I'm all smiles now, but I won't be smiling here in about 10 minutes. But it's coming. But, yeah. But really, with everything that's happened with Sonya in the last week, you could tell WWE was really smart with the way they did this. So Sonya's not really leaving WWE. She's not. This wasn't like some kind of contract termination. Remember, it was Sonya was the one that made the stipulation, not Mandy. Like I said. So clearly what they're doing here, they're going to write Sonya off of television because when something like that happens, she almost got kidnapped. She was this close to getting kidnapped, bro. And that's why I'm always saying some wrestling fans could be the worst in the world. There's points where they can be amazing, but wrestling fans are some of the creepiest fans in the world, bro. Like, this dude would stalk Sonya outside her house for months. Dude had a plan. Thank God that Sonya and Mandy was there as well, and they didn't allow that to happen. But Sonya's going to take time off, try to get over this emotional time. No matter if she has to go to therapy or get counsel or whatever, or just let her mind rest. She's going to take some months off, right? Maybe we see her make a return for Survivor Series. Because, like I said, I would love to see Sonya in the SmackDown Women's title picture. But clearly, Sonya's gonna take time off. Maybe when she comes back, she'll be on Monday Night Raw. If I had to come off with a prediction, I think Sonya will return probably around the WWE draft. Because remember, we have the WWE draft coming in October, so I think that's when we'll see Sonya make her return. But like I said, this could be a blessing in disguise. Yes, it's a very scary situation, but seeing the support for Sonya and seeing how they were able to use that to evolve and improve her character, I think when Sonya does come back, people are going to be excited. I don't know, we'll have crowds by then, but people are going to be excited when Sonya does come back, and I feel like it's going to make her into a bigger superstar. We'll make her to a Becky Lynch or a Sasha Banks level. I don't know, but definitely I think we're going to see Sonya come back with a vengeance, all right? But this was definitely one of the more underrated things on the card tonight. So definitely. Before we get into the next match, we're going to be talking about Seth Rollins versus Dominic. All right, the next 3 matches were 3 easily 4-star matches. Sasha versus Asuka could be close to 5 stars, but the next 3 matches we're going to talk about: Dominic versus Seth, Rant of the Century coming with Sasha and Asuka, and Orton versus McIntyre. Definitely, these 3 matches are what made SummerSlam great. Like I said, this was a really good pay-per-view. All right, we can bitch about the creative, but this was a really good pay-per-view. But before we get into the next match, just want to let you guys know, if you guys are watching it and you guys are new to the channel, if you guys are enjoying the podcast or the stream, make sure to hit that bell for notifications and subscribe, because you guys know this is the best wrestling podcast on YouTube. We do it better than anybody else because we keep it real like a boss. All right. Also, if you guys are in the chat and you guys are enjoying the podcast, leave a like on the video. It helps me out a lot and lets me know that what I'm doing is great. So leave a like if you guys haven't already, and let's keep it going. All right. Street fight here. Dominic Mysterio versus Seth Rollins. A lot of hype was going into this match. There's been reports already going out. Dominic, I don't know, he did an interview with somebody. I don't know if it was ESPN, but we know that going forward, Dominic's going to be wrestling over even a new name, Prince Mysterio. And there's rumors saying he's going to start wrestling in a mask, just like his father. But we had to get through this match tonight. It had a simple build, and you had Rey Mysterio at ringside, and this was great. This was great. All right, Seth Rollins, first of all, Seth came out wearing a Halloween Havoc themed gear. I loved it. I don't know if it was my boy Paul or Frank on the stream, but when he came out, he hyped it up a lot, and I loved it. Seth looked very clean wearing that Halloween Havoc ring gear tonight. But Paul says 0 for 10 because of Sasha, but 10 out of 10 for Roman. You guys should have seen when Paul freaked out when Roman came out. That was a huge moment. But getting into it, Rollins with the Halloween Havoc gear. I absolutely loved that little touch. Before the match, we saw Dominic. Dominic was backstage, and Dominic was there with Ray, and his mother, Ray's wife, was there, Angie. That was a great touch. Really liked how they did that. But here we had Dominic come out. He had kind of like a 205 live ring gear, so he had a hood on. That was the only thing I really didn't like. I didn't like how he had the hood on. It's kind of weird to be wrestling with a hoodie, but still, man, I'm gonna keep saying it, man. Can we get some freaking steaks in Dominic, please? Like, I love Dominic, but someone, man, get this guy a steak, bro. Come on. How hard is it to get this guy some freaking protein? But, following the Sonya versus Mandy Rose match, 2 emotional matches in a row, this was great. So we had Dominic come out, and right away, how would Dominic deliver? We talked on the NXT TakeOver review. How would Pat McAfee deliver? Well, he delivered, but now Dominic, he has wrestling in his veins. He comes from the Rey Mysterio legacy, being his son. So how would he deliver in his first official match? And he did great. He did great. He was very impressive. Came out the gate flying, dodging Seth's attacks, and this was really good. I forgot to say, the Seth Rollins gear that he wore. It was kind of a throwback Easter egg because back in 1997, at that Halloween Havoc, Rey Mysterio actually went up against Eddie Guerrero. So definitely mind games, very good stuff. So if you guys don't know your WWE history, there's some WWE history for you guys right there. So definitely. But Rollins had control of the match. Rollins did a great job being that heel, taunting Ray at ringside, like, look what's happened to your son. You let this happen. You, Ray, let this happen. All right. I was kind of hoping Ray would like take off his mask at some point or take off like that fake eye patch he's been wearing because we know Ray's not really injured. But still, this was really good stuff. Rollins basically was able to capitalize on Dominic hitting or not Rollins. Dominic was able to capitalize on Rollins trying to be or not being focused and taunting Rey Mysterio. He set Rollins into a chair with a drop toe hold. Then he followed with a buckle bomb and a tornado DDT. So Dominic, man, has some really good offense. He had a kendo stick attack, getting that payback on Rollins for that brutal kendo stick attack. Dominic's initiation from Monday Night Raw a couple weeks ago. And we could see Dominic hit Seth so hard that the kendo stick broke after a couple shots. And you could see Seth was getting welts all over his body. Not as severe as Dominic's were, but definitely Seth's going to be feeling those in the morning. Then we saw the fight spill into the ropes. Rollins delivered a superplex and the Falcon Arrow, his usual stuff, and it looked really good. I loved how WWE was transitioning from Rey Mysterio's reaction at ringside to Angie. Angie was watching at backstage, and they kept cutting to her reactions as well. Love it. Love the emotion here. Then we see Rollins get a kendo stick. Then he unloaded on Dominic. So Dominic, when he wakes up tomorrow, he's definitely going to be feeling those shots again. It was, like I said, wasn't as bad as the attack from 2 weeks ago, but Seth unloaded on him. These were hard kendo shots. A couple of them were harder than the ones we saw a couple weeks ago. Then we saw as Rollins continued the attack, he asked Murphy for a weapon, and it was handcuffs. So, those handcuffs were definitely going to come into play. I thought, it was going to lead to Ray and Dominic putting Seth in handcuffs, but it was vice versa. And we saw Dominic went for the roll-up for the distraction, but Seth kicked out. Murphy jumped into the match and hit a beautiful jumping knee strike on Dominic. Ray then got involved, saving his sons from the heels, but he eventually could not be able to overhandle the. He could not handle the duel of Seth and Murphy. This would lead to him getting handcuffed to the ropes. Then we saw Miss Mysterio, Angie, come out watching from the top of the stage, and this was really good. All right, Seth looks at Angie watching from the top of the stage, and he puts his hands out, being the Messiah that he is on WWE TV. He puts his hand out, he's like, Angie, come to me. Join the greater good. You can save Dominic. You can save Ray. Just come to me. And he's slowly, walking towards Angie. Angie's just, watching in horror and disgust. But Dominic would come from behind and attack Seth, sending him to the steel ring steps and the barricade. But then he got dropped by Murphy. Murphy teased on putting Dominic into the steel steps, putting his eye. The same thing that we seen happen to Ray before him. Then we see Dominic hit a modified 619 on the outside to Murphy. Then he sends Rollins into the guardrail, and I thought this was going to be the end of the match. I predicted Dominic would win. This was the only prediction up to this point in the match that I got wrong. I was undefeated at this point, which I am disappointed, but still. We see Dominic, he hits a beautiful 619 on Rollins. Then he goes for the splash, but Rollins was able to counter with the double knees. Then we see Rollins, who was taunting Ray, who was still handcuffed to the to the ring ropes at this time. He delivers a stomp. Ray has to watch helplessly as Rollins stomps Dominic and gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. And then WWE did a good job. We actually got some crowd engagement with a nice little chorus of boo. So I enjoyed this here. Great heel work from Rollins. Dominic, playing the sympathetic babyface, the underdog here. He had a brilliant performance here in his first match. He has nothing to be shamed about. After the match, we saw Angie left, and then Rollins and Dominic celebrated on the top of the stage. And like I said, before Rollins left the ring, he actually pulled out the key to unlocking the handcuffs and dropped it on Dominic. He's like, "Here, bitch, I just beat you. Now save your daddy." All right. And then Ray freed himself from the handcuffs and, confronted his son. So I really thought, Seth would, lose here, finally get what's coming to him. But he wins again. I don't know where we go from here, really. I don't know. What, are we going to get a tag team match? Ray and Seth, or Ray and Dominic versus Seth and Murphy? I'm not saying I'm not interested in that, but I'm just like, I really thought tonight would be the night we would see Seth get what's coming to him. But I don't know. It looks like WWE may delay this a little bit more. Like, we may not see Rollins get his comeuppance until close to when Becky's due, which won't be till December, God willing. And, that's finally when we'll see, Seth get what's coming to him and they write him off of TV. But Seth gets the win here. I had Dominic winning. My prediction, or my perfect prediction streak got ruined here. But overall, very good performance here. It's going to be interesting to see where they go with Dominic. Man, I was joking, like, how long till we see Dominic in 205 Live as the Cruiserweight Champion? I could definitely see that going. But it's just that with Dominic's style, it's just that with in how big, Dominic needs to get bigger. He needs to get bigger, man, because he looked so small being in there with Seth. And Dominic's not that small. It's just that he's not ripped and built like a Seth Rollins, like a Buddy Murphy. So it's gonna be interesting to see where they go with this. But Seth gets the win, and very impressive debut for Dominic. Dominic has nothing to be ashamed about. Really good match. All right, it's time. It's time. Let me grab a sip of my water. All right, gotta be fueled for this one. I promised. You guys have been waiting for this. I said if Sasha did not retain the Raw Women's title tonight at SummerSlam, I would give you guys the rant of the century. This smile is going to disappear in about 5 seconds. The best female wrestler in the world, not even in the world, the best female wrestler of all time, once again, is buried by WWE Creative. 5 years ago, we had the greatest women's wrestling match of all time with Sasha Banks and Bayley at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. 5 years ago. 5 years later, remember, originally, today, SummerSlam, if we didn't have COVID, SummerSlam was going to be in Boston, in the TD Garden. I had tickets for the show, got a refund, but I would be driving back from the TD Garden right now. We were originally supposed to get Sasha Banks and Bayley at this show. 5 years on the anniversary of the best female wrestling match of all time. And yes, you guys know how much I love Asuka. She's one of the best in the world. Right up there with Bayley. Right up there with, Bianca Belair. One of the best in the world. But she is not on the level of Sasha Banks. I don't know how many times that she has to prove it. People telling me, I was in my Discord stream. My man Frank telling me, the best female wrestler in the world is not even in this match. Charlotte's not there. Becky Lynch is not there. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Are you fucking kidding me? We are watching greatness every single time Sasha Banks steps into the ring. Every single time. We have been in this WWE pandemic, this Performance Center era now for close to half a year. It started in March. Here we are nearing the end of August, getting ready to enter fall, getting ready to enter September. And I say this all the time. When you look at the WWE Performance Center era, because they're going to write documentaries on this. They're going to make movies on this. They're going to write articles on this. They're going to tell stories on this. You could talk about Randy Orton. You could talk about Drew McIntyre. You could talk about the Hurt Business. You could talk about Bayley all you want. You can talk about Asuka. But when you look back at the Performance Center era, and when you look back and you think about it, who was the face? Who was the best thing? Who carried WWE on its back through the Performance Center era? There's only one name that comes to mind. And it's not fucking Charlotte, who's sitting at home. It's not Becky Lynch, who got pregnant. It's the best female wrestler of all time. And before someone comes in the chat and says, oh yeah, they rewarded her. They rewarded her, right? By giving her the Raw Women's Championship. 2 belts, Banks. They gave us t-shirts. They gave us merch. They gave us graphics. It looked incredible. But I said it every week on the podcast. I said, if Sasha Banks does not walk out of SummerSlam as the Raw Women's Champion, what the fuck was the point? What was the point? Why would you give us the match to begin with? Why? I would have much rather Asuka remain champion and you give us this match tonight at SummerSlam. I'm not shitting on the match at all. I'm shitting on the fucking decision. Why? I saw a tweet. I retweeted Sasha Banks' Raw Women's Championship reigns. Right? I don't care. I love Asuka, but I don't care tonight. Not tonight. I'm not an Asuka fan tonight. Where is it? There was a fucking tweet of Sasha's Raw Women's Championship reigns. 27, 21, 8, and 27. 3 weeks and 6 days. She couldn't even get to a full 4 weeks as Raw Women's Champion, y'all. Some idiot said on Twitter, oh, technically it's 35 days because they filmed the Sasha Banks versus Asuka match a week before it premiered on Raw. Get the fuck out of here with that nonsense. Yes, I love 2 belts Banks. Yes, I loved it. But I said it. How many times? I said it at the Extreme Rules review. I said it the night after Extreme Rules on the Raw review. I've said it every single week. I've said it on the SummerSlam preview prediction shows. I've said it on the SmackDown reviews. I've said it on the NXT reviews. What the fuck was the point of giving Sasha Banks the championship if you weren't going to have her defend it? The curse is alive. Sasha not being able to hold a main roster championship past 30 days. Sasha Banks not being able to successfully defend a Raw Women's Championship. And yes, I understand Sasha and Bayley is the greater story, but I booked this shit. How do me, a black man from Boston, Massachusetts, sitting behind his desk, how do I sit here every single week and book WWE better than they do? I made a 40-minute podcast a couple weeks ago telling you how to book Sasha Banks and Bayley, and everybody agreed with me. Everybody agreed with me. Yes, I understand Sasha and Bayley were not going to remain double champions forever. But I said have Sasha and Bayley lose the women's tag team titles to either Liv Morgan or Ruby Riott or the Iconics. Who gives a crap? Because the women's tag team championships on anybody other than Sasha Banks and Bayley is meaningless. Those titles don't mean shit when it's not on those 2 women. I said, all right, fine. You can have Sasha hold on to the Raw Women's Championship for a couple months because she's going to make the Raw Women's division better in the long run. Sasha Banks versus Shayna Baszler. Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair. Sasha versus Liv Morgan. Sasha versus Natalya. Sasha versus Ruby Riott. Sasha versus Mickie James. The list goes on and on and on. Because if you ask any female superstar, ask Asuka, ask Bayley, ask Charlotte, ask Becky, ask freaking Alexa Bliss, ask Peyton Royce, ask Ember Moon, ask all of them. Ask Nia Jax, who you guys know I don't give a shit about. Ask them all. Ask them all. Who was their best female wrestling match against? Who was their best match against? Do you guys want me to go down the list? Should I go down the list? Because we can go bullet point style in this bitch. Sasha Banks versus Bayley, NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. You guys already know the vibes, right? Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. Hell in a Cell last year, Clash of Champions. Sasha Banks versus Charlotte. Pick any match. I don't care. Pick any Sasha Banks versus Charlotte match. Sasha Banks versus Asuka. Sasha Banks versus Asuka. Right? Bro, and first of all, I got to give a shout out. I got to pause the rant for a second. Got to give a shout out to JQ James for the $20 super chat. I gotta read this quote. It pains me to say this. As much as I love Sasha and Bayley, what WWE pulled tonight makes me do not care what they do with these women going forward. WWE has bought Sasha so many times to the point that I am absolutely done. I don't blame you, bro. I don't blame you. The only reason why I watch WWE mainly is because of Sasha. If there was no Sasha, I would probably not even be watching. I would not have this podcast. I would not have this platform. I would not. It's because of you guys and everybody in the chat. You guys are the reason why I put myself through this misery every single week. Oh my gosh. I'm not done with the list. We did Bayley, we said Charlotte, we said Becky. Sasha just gave Asuka 3 of the best matches of her career. 3. No matter how bad the finish was at Extreme Rules, that match was going on to be match of the year. The match we got a week after when Sasha became champion. Fantastic. Another great match. And tonight, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody says. Sasha Banks and Asuka tonight had the women's match of the year. This match tonight, Sasha versus Asuka, will go down as the women's match of the year. Until we get Sasha versus Bayley or Sasha versus somebody else to break the scale. Because Sasha's that damn good. She's that damn good. You guys know, Robert knows this. I keep the poster right back there. He was there with me that day. He was there. All right? He was there. Boston, Massachusetts. 2 years ago, baby. 2 years ago. So we were there. We got up at 4 a.m. to go see Sasha, man. You don't see any other WWE superstars on that wall because they don't deserve to be on that wall. They don't. They don't fucking don't. All right? And the rant continues. Oh, man, I'm in a mood right now. All right? Sasha gave Asuka 3 match of the year candidates. And Sasha versus Asuka tonight is easily going to be match of the year for the women. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You say anything else otherwise, you can go fuck yourself. Because you are a casual idiot. It's that simple. It's really that simple. Let's keep the list going. Let's keep the list going. I am in a mood tonight, people. Sasha Banks versus freaking Nia Jax. Nia Jax has never had a match as good as the match with Sasha Banks. The only thing that comes close is her match with Ronda Rousey from Money in the Bank a couple years ago. Because that's the only thing. Because we didn't know how good Ronda Rousey was at the time. Speaking of Ronda Rousey, what was Ronda Rousey's best match in WWE? Oh, let me think. Royal Rumble! Her best match wasn't against Charlotte, or Alexa, or Bayley, or Becky. No, Ronda's best match was against Sasha. Is there anybody else I'm forgetting? You guys see the trend? You guys see the bullet point list? The best female wrestler in the world. And everybody in the company knows it. But yet she gets treated like shit. It's absolute nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And they made her into a double champion. Please, if you only hold the belt for not even 30 days and you lose it in your first defense, that's what people are going to remember. That's what people are going to remember. Because here's the narrative. Sasha can't defend a singles championship. The narrative is there. The narrative is there. And it's fucking ridiculous that the narrative is there because it shouldn't be. When you're the best female wrestler in the world, you be booked like the best female wrestler in the world. People call Randy Orton the best wrestler right now. Randy Orton's fantastic. Why can't Sasha Banks be booked like that? Why? Why? Like, why does nobody understand that? Why? For the Burbs, $2 super chat. Thank you, bro. Oh, I'm blowing a fuse right now. Have you not been listening the last 10 minutes? Oh my gosh. Bro. Freaking ridiculous. Freaking ridiculous. You look from the Performance Center era from March to where we are now. There has been nobody more consistent, nobody better than Sasha Banks. Nobody better. Becky Lynch, 1-year title reign. Asuka, 600-day streak, undefeated. Shawn, 12-time champion. Bayley, over 300 days as SmackDown Women's Champion. Longest reigning Women's Champion in history. But Sasha's better than all of them. But she can't get that respect? Why? Why? What was the point of giving her the title to begin with? Get the fuck out of here with that nonsense. For real. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Oh my gosh. I just blew a fucking gasket, bro. Carries the company through the pandemic. All I asked for was for Sasha to get a reign over 30 days and to get at least one, just one successful title defense. Just one. And they can't even give me that. They can't even give me that. Kevin Abreu, Sasha versus Io in the Great American Bash. I forgot about that. There's another example, bro. Give yourself a pat on the back for that one. Ridiculous. Oh my gosh. And I'm surprised nobody else in my family has come knocking on my door to scream at me right now. Because I am screaming and it's 11:30 at night. Bro. And I didn't even... I forgot. I didn't even mention. Sasha's never won at WrestleMania. I'm talking about Sasha not being able to defend titles. I'm over here ranting about Sasha's SummerSlam curse. I'm talking about Sasha not being able to hold a title for over 30 days. I'm forgetting she's never won a match at WrestleMania. Best female wrestler in the world. She's never won a match at WrestleMania. Never. Her first year, WrestleMania 31. Should have defeated Charlotte. That was the year the Raw Women's Championship was introduced. She should have won. She had the best entrance on that show. She had Snoop Dogg. She was over as fuck. And you didn't have Sasha win the title then. All right, fine. Next year, Bayley of all people. Fatal 4-way. Sasha versus Bayley versus Charlotte versus Nia Jax. Great match. Sasha didn't win. I can understand Bayley getting her WrestleMania moment. It's only Sasha's second WrestleMania. It's coming, right? It's coming. WrestleMania 33. Oh, no, it was WrestleMania 34. I'm going backwards. Sasha's first WrestleMania was WrestleMania 32. My bad. But WrestleMania 34. She was on the pre-show. The pre-show! The best female wrestler in the world on the pre-show of WrestleMania. So let me get this straight. The best... WrestleMania is supposed to be where the best in the world show what they got. But the best female wrestler in the world is not on the WrestleMania card. She's on the pre-show in a battle royal that she didn't even win. Oh, I'm sorry. WrestleMania 35. That was last year. Sasha and Bayley inaugural tag team champions, should have held those titles for most, if not all, of 2019. They lose them to the fucking Iconics. The women's tag team titles haven't meant shit ever since, until Sasha and Bayley won those titles back in June. But you guys get my point. The only way Sasha could get a title reign longer than 30 days is if it's the tag titles or if it's in NXT. And the thing about it is, Sasha left for 4 months after. 4 months. And she made up for those 4 months with what the fuck she was doing after the Performance Center era. Sasha Banks has made up for the 4 months she was gone from WWE last year with what she's done in this pandemic era. Don't quote me otherwise. While Charlotte's bitch ass is sitting at home, while Becky is pregnant, while Ronda's on vacation in Hawaii, Sasha is here, grinding, putting on matches every single week that people are talking about. But she can't get a successful title defense. She can't hold a title more than 30 days. Fuck it, hey, bro. Fuck it, hey. When is this company going to realize what they have with Sasha Banks? When are they going to realize? Because one day Sasha's going to retire. One day, and I will be here to say Sasha's the best female wrestler in the world. Best female wrestler of all time. But man, oh man, it's hard to make that argument when the stats say otherwise. But still, bro, I've been ranting about this for how long, and we haven't even got to the actual match. We haven't even got to the match. Like I said, before we get into the match, I'm just going to say this. I understand. I fucking understand. I understand that the bigger story is Sasha Banks versus Bayley. We all want the match. We all know it's going to happen. But still, why did you give Sasha the Raw Women's Championship if you weren't going to have her at least have one successful title defense? If you weren't going to have her hold that title more than 30 days? Why? It's so simple. A kid can book it. I would have much rather them never give the title to Sasha to begin with. Never. And clearly this is going to lead to Sasha turning babyface and probably challenging Bayley. If I had to make a prediction right now, if we don't get Sasha and Bayley before Hell in a Cell, I think we're going to get it at Survivor Series. Because I think by then, WWE's going to have fans back in attendance. Because right now, I think we're slowly getting towards the point where we're going to get fans again. It may not be full capacity, it may not be full arenas, but we are going to get WWE fans back in attendance sooner rather than later. And Sasha versus Bayley deserves fans. Even though I would rather them wait till WrestleMania next year, when Sasha can become a Grand Slam champion, when Sasha can get her first WrestleMania victory, when Sasha can finally get her big moment. But I digress. We'll have to wait and see. It seems like we are getting close to the split of the Golden Role Models. And let's get into this match. Before that, I just got to say this. I want to say thank you to my boy, Sauriax. Gotta say thank you to Sauriax. He is the guy that makes the layout, the beautiful. This SummerSlam layout is absolutely beautiful. You got Strowman, McIntyre, the Fiend on the left. You got Asuka, Bayley, and Sasha on the right. This shit looks beautiful. So shout out to Sauriax. That is my man. Thank you for the layout and everything you do for me. But damn. I don't even think has Sasha posted anything on social media? I don't think so. Anyway, getting back into it. Let's get into the match, because we haven't talked about it. This was fantastic. But you can already tell, they had dropped so many hints that Sasha probably was not walking out as champion. Sasha comes out first. So, in the opening match of the night, Bayley came out second, like the champion should. But here, Sasha comes out first. All right? And then all the hints that Asuka kept saying, once I regain the Raw Women's Championship, I'm going to face Shayna. It's like WWE was fucking telling you how disrespectful that is to Sasha. best female wrestler in the world. It's like WWE's telling you that, hey, Sasha's not winning. Asuka's gonna win. UI Paul, Ultra Instinct Paul, my homie, $5 super chat. And I gotta say thank you guys. We got 3 super chat donations. Usually I don't ask for donations. I usually say you guys can donate if you want, but I never ask for them. But you guys are just donating because you guys love the channel. And thank you guys so much. Ultra Instinct Paul, $5 super chat. Maybe they're saving Sasha versus Bayley for a potential Evolution 2 later this year. I would love that. I would love that, bro. I just don't know if we're getting it. There was rumors, remember, there was rumors that we were going to get Sasha versus Bayley or get Evolution 2 right after SummerSlam, but instead we're getting Payback. But still, thank you for the super chat, bro. Like, I don't tell you guys to do super chats, but if you guys want to donate, like I said, everything that you guys donate gets reinvested into the channel. I don't spend the money on myself. I use it to upgrade equipment and, make the podcast better. Like, if you guys go back to a year ago, just go check out the SummerSlam review from a year ago. Go check out that review from a year ago and see how far we've come with the growth of the podcast, with everything out. We have grown so much in the last year, from subscribers to quality, with the camera, the microphone, everything, man. So definitely, you guys' donations and support means the world to me. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys. You guys are the reason why I keep doing what I do. But let's get into the match. Sasha comes out. First of all, like I said, Sasha should not be coming out first. She's the fucking champion. We all know if Charlotte or Becky was the champion, they would be coming out second. But Sasha came out. She had beautiful pyro, beautiful graphics. And she came out with this white jacket. Loved the way it looked. Bayley came out behind her, holding Sasha's tag team title. I like that. Like I said, if you guys saw WWE Untold, and I'm going to be posting my reaction to that later this week, so watch out for that. But if you guys watch WWE Untold, Sasha and Bayley talked about the small details. The focus on the small details, right? Small details here. Sasha coming out with only the Raw Women's Championship. Bayley was holding the tag team titles. Usually when Sasha comes out, she's holding both her titles. You could tell Sasha was focused. She was focused. She was like, Bayley, hold my tag team titles because this is about the Raw Women's Championship. It's those small details that you notice with Sasha. When I call her the best female wrestler in the world, I mean it. Because of small details like that. Thank God for pop filters. Thank God for pop filters, y'all. Because, man, if y'all can see my pop filter right now, you guys would think it's raining in my room. But definitely. Sasha comes out, beautiful entrance. She had this cheetah print gear, bro. And as Paul, because we were watching together on Discord, this cheetah print gear looked fucking beautiful. Beautiful, man. Every single month, Sasha comes out with new ring gear. It's a blessing to have somebody like Mikaze making you new ring gear. Sasha has like 40 different ring gears. And like every time she debuts a new one, it's like, damn, where is this one gonna rank on all of Sasha's ring gears? Like, she had this cheetah print one, bro, tonight. It looked kind of similar to her Royal Rumble one from last year, but it was cheetah styled. I loved it. Absolutely beautiful. Asuka came out. Hated how Asuka came out second. But Sasha wasted no time targeting... I'm already mad. Bleacher Report had this match labeled as a B+. Bitch, this match was an A+. A+. Sasha versus Asuka tonight was the best female wrestling match of the year so far. And it was the best match on SummerSlam. You cannot tell me otherwise. Anyway. Sasha wasted no time. Loved it. Sasha being the heel, going right after the left knee. And then she was looking for the quick victory. Asuka answered with some beautiful stiff kicks. Sasha took her. This was the spot of the night. Well, there was 2 spots in this match. But Sasha easily had the spot of the night. This was fucking brutal. Like I said, every single match Sasha is looking to improve her arsenal. Looking to improve her moveset. Sasha here does a sunset flip power bomb off the apron onto the floor, and I swear I thought Asuka had a concussion. Easily the spot of the night. Imagine that shit through a table. I really thought Asuka had a concussion here. But Asuka did a beautiful job of selling it. It kind of reminded me of when we had of the powerbomb spot we had with Sasha versus Io Shirai at the Great American Bash when Sasha powerbombed Io through the plexiglass, and it also reminded me of the first match we ever got between Sasha Banks and Asuka back the night after the Royal Rumble in 2019 when Sasha did the flip over the top rope and then Asuka countered it, and we thought Sasha had the concussion. That was a really good throwback here, but man, what a spot. Easily the spot of the night. But basically Asuka would not be done yet. After that beautiful powerbomb spot, we saw Asuka go for a nasty corner kick. Then Sasha went for a cover, and Asuka kicked out at 2.5. Then Asuka baited Banks, dropped her to the mat with a ankle lock. Then we saw Sasha and Asuka go to the top rope. Whew. Sasha had hit Asuka with a beautiful right hand, then set up for a superplex, but Asuka countered it into a DDT from the top rope. A DDT looking beautiful, man. Looking like Bobby Roode in his prime. Beautiful DDT from the top rope. Absolutely beautiful. Heat. Absolute heat. This was great. But then we saw later, Asuka was picking up offense. Sasha hit a code breaker from the bottom rope. All right, it was a modified code breaker. Fucking beautiful code breaker from Sasha Banks. All right. After that, Sasha hit a beautiful frog splash, but it missed. Then Asuka puts in the Asuka lock. Then Sasha countered into the bake statement. Asuka countered back. So then, remember earlier in the night when Sasha risked herself, right? She pulled Bayley out of the way when Asuka was going for the hip attack. Sasha then fell off. They did the same thing here. Bayley tried to go for the hip, or Bayley tried to put herself in the way, doing the same thing Sasha did for her earlier, but Asuka saw it coming, and Bayley was not able to do the job that Sasha did. So remember that. Sasha's turning babyface. It's coming. Sasha's going to be turning babyface now. All right. So then, basically, Asuka did not connect with the hip attack because Bayley was not able to get in the way in time to save Sasha. So then Asuka was able to lock in the Asuka lock one more time. Love it. Sasha's in there screaming for Bayley. Like, where's my best friend? Come, help me. Pull my legs to the rope. Do something. Because we know if the situations were reversed, Sasha would save Bayley. Sasha would be there for Bayley. But no, Bayley was not there for Sasha when she needed her. And then Asuka had it locked in. Sasha had no choice. And unfortunately, Sasha screaming for Bayley. She couldn't hold on. Sasha had to tap out. So absolutely amazing. Amazing match. This was great. Best female wrestling match of the year. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. But great match. But, disappointing. Disappointing. All right? Disappointing. And after the match, you could tell Sasha was hurt. The ring, the body language that Sasha was giving. This is what separates Sasha. This is why I call her the best female wrestler in the world. The storytelling Sasha was doing here. All right? So Sasha's sitting here. She's sitting here like, what the fuck happened? Like, Bayley, you were supposed to help me. Asuka's sitting there celebrating her Raw Women's Championship victory. Then Bayley comes into the ring, and you can tell Bayley has like a smirk on her face. Like, she feels bad for her best friend, but it's not like she felt bad. It's like, because at the end of the day, Bayley didn't lose her title. Bayley retained. And this is even worse because Asuka had a match early in the show. She had a 15-minute match with Bayley. She was already in a brutal match with Bayley to open up the show. Now here we are later on in the show, and now Sasha has her match with Asuka, but Asuka was not able or Asuka was able to get the job done. Asuka, who already had a match earlier in the show, was able to get the job done on a healthier and fresher Banks. And still, Bayley's sitting there like, damn. You know, she's not really sympathizing. She's just sitting there. Sasha is emotional. And, you know, it looked like tears were her eyes were tearing up a little bit, doing a great job of selling that emotional effect. Then Bayley gives her the Women's Tag Team Championship. Notice this. This was great because remember, I want you guys to remember something. Do you guys remember when Sasha originally challenged Asuka? This was close to 2 months ago. How time flies. When Sasha originally challenged Asuka, remember, Sasha said she was jealous of Bayley being a double champion and wanted to experience that for herself, right? So here we are now. Bayley retained, and Bayley was not able to help Sasha get the job done. So Sasha is sitting there in the middle of the ring, and Bayley gives her the tag title. Sasha doesn't even want to hold it. She's like, this is all I'm left with. After everything I've done, I don't even get to walk out as a double champion. Sasha's sitting there and she's looking at Bayley, looking at Asuka, looking back at Bayley, and you could tell the pain on Sasha's face. Just like, wow. And I was getting emotional. As Paul, I'm sitting here getting emotional, and I'm just like, damn it all. So Sasha's sitting there, and then she eventually picks up the title, but you can tell the seeds have been planted. I wanted a little bit more. I wanted Sasha to get in Bayley's face, get angry. I was thinking, what if Sasha just grabs the other tag team title and walks out? Or maybe Sasha just leaves the tag team title in the middle of the ring. Because they've been advertising next week at Payback. Sasha and Bayley have no time to recover. They have to defend the Women's Tag Team Championships. Probably tomorrow night on Raw, we're going to see the Iconics versus Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott to determine the new number one contenders. It'll probably be Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. Next week, Sasha and Bayley. Can Sasha get back on the same page as Bayley? Clearly, this is going to lead to Sasha turning babyface. Sasha is going to turn babyface. Is it going to happen next week? Will next week be the true dysfunction of the golden role models? I cannot wait for Monday Night Raw tomorrow night to see what's going to happen. All right. It's going to be interesting to see what happens on SmackDown because Sasha is not going to be happy with Bayley. Not going to be happy at all. And I cannot wait to see what happens. Do Sasha and Bayley, remain Women's Tag Team Champions? I would keep the titles on them for now, but I don't know. Like I said, the way I had it, the way I booked it, Sasha and Bayley remain singles champions, but I would have them lose their tag title belts. Clearly that didn't happen tonight, but we'll have to see what happens. I'm hoping Sasha and Bayley don't lose the tag titles next week. But if they do, clearly it's leading to the Sasha Banks and Bayley feud. Clearly it's going to lead to that feud happening. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. But this was an amazing match. Best match of the year. I hate it. You guys got the rant you guys wanted. I hope you guys are happy. If you guys enjoyed that rant, make sure to leave a like on the video. But you guys got the rant. Hope you guys are happy. Hope you guys are proud. Man, Sasha should have not lost tonight. Should have never put the title on her if you're going to have her lose. But either way, at the end of the day, this was a fantastic match. Best match of the year for the women so far with Sasha and Asuka. Fucking fantastic. But the ending. Clearly, we are finally on the road to the Sasha and Bayley split. Sasha's going to be turning babyface here eventually. It's going to be interesting to see. Does the pure dysfunction, does it happen next week at Payback? Will Sasha and Bayley lose the tag titles, and that's what sets Sasha up? If they lose the tag titles next week, it's going to be because Bayley's going to get pinned. It's going to be because Bayley's going to get pinned. Because remember, Sasha is the one that wins all the tag title belts for her team. If you guys look at any time when Sasha and Bayley have defended those tag titles, Sasha always gets the win. So clearly, Bayley, when they lose those tag titles, no matter if it's next week, Bayley's going to be the one that gets pinned. But it's going to be interesting. With Sasha didn't lose again. I fucking hate it. But either way, we are finally off to the races with Sasha Banks and Bayley. I just wish they did it my way. I just wish they did it the way I said. It would have been so easy to do it that way. But moving on. How How long did we spend on that? Did we spend like close to 30 minutes talking about Sasha Banks and Asuka? Like I said, man, when you're a fan of the best female wrestler of all time, I could have gone an hour on that. But still, moving on. Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre, WWE Championship. This, other than Sasha Banks and Asuka, and Dominic versus Rey Mysterio, I was very hyped for this match. I thought this was going to be the main event. I think we all did. But clearly with Roman Reigns making his comeback tonight. Clearly, that's the reason why this match wasn't in the main event. Clearly, we didn't know how this match was going to be built or be booked because there was lots of debate. Sorry. Moving my layout a little bit. But clearly, we didn't know how this was all going to go because Randy Orton, with the momentum he's had these past couple months, you can't... my camera's coming out of focus. But clearly, with the momentum that Randy Orton has had the last couple months, you're like... You can't have him lose the title after everything he's done, right? You can't. They're not going to do that. You can't have Randy Orton just lose after punting Christian, after punting Edge, punting Shawn Michaels, punting Ric Flair, punting Big Show. There was no way they were going to have Randy Orton lose unless there was some kind of fuck finish. And Drew McIntyre, he's been a great WWE champion, even though WWE has made mistakes with him down the line. But clearly, we knew this was only going to be round one because this is a feud I could see having 2 to 3 matches. So clearly we knew this was not going to be over. It wasn't going to be settled between these two with one match. But I didn't expect what we got with the finish. Randy Orton came out, loved it. Drew McIntyre came out. Drew got a new little, I think it was like a graphic of like a sword going through the M in McIntyre. So they gave a new graphic for McIntyre tonight before his music started playing. And you can see Drew was hyped. Because remember, when Drew won the WWE Championship, Drew was supposed to get that big moment in front of fans. You saw when he won the Royal Rumble how the crowd reacted. And we were all hoping for that at WrestleMania. But clearly we didn't get it. And it's sad. It sucks, but hopefully eventually Drew will get his big moment. But still, Drew did a great job. Of feeding off the energy in the crowd, man. And I love Drew as a babyface. He has, over this year, he's become one of my favorite superstars in WWE. He's up there with Adam Cole, Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, John Cena. Those are my favorite superstars in WWE. And at the peak top, you guys know Sasha Banks is at the top with, no argument. But still, this was a great match. Fantastic. Drew, they gave him extra pyro. They gave him like a Kane-style pyro here. But definitely he deserved it. This was a big moment for him. And this was a fight. It was a bloody fight. Out the gate, these two came charging at one another. They did not give a single fuck. They came right at each other. And a hot start by the champion came to a screeching halt when he tried to go for a Claymore. Randy escaped the RKO. And we were thinking, I thought personally it was going to take something like 2 RKOs and a punt for Orton to defeat McIntyre. But clearly, that's not the route that they decided to go with. Then we see the pace kind of slowed down a little bit because classic Randy Orton, he loves that slow, methodical pace. McIntyre finally recovered and applied a figure 4, a callback to, Ric Flair and Orton's attack on that. We saw Orton screaming in agony, but then he pulled the referee out of the way and poked the eye of a champion. Classic heel move. And I like the Easter egg. This is something Orton learned from Ric Flair. So nice little callbacks here. We also saw Drew McIntyre do a kick up. So that was a salute to Shawn Michaels, who they had give a promo via satellite before the match. I wasn't really listening to what he said. But when Orton poked McIntyre in the eye, McIntyre actually got bloodied. So he got bloodied here. Then they started trading right hands, and they were dodging RKO. McIntyre went for another Claymore, but then that didn't deliver. McIntyre then went for a top rope clothesline. Then he hit the Future Shock DDT. Orton avoided a flying McIntyre and dropped him with the snap power slam. Then we see McIntyre hit him with the the headbutt or the Glasgow kiss, and then he clotheslined McIntyre to the floor. But Orton went for a punt, but McIntyre hit him with a beautiful powerbomb. Orton hit the DDT. McIntyre then reversed another RKO. McIntyre tried for the Claymore kick. Orton ducked out of the way, went for another RKO, but McIntyre countered with a backslide for the win. This was a really good match, and we knew this was going to be a really good match. We know how great McIntyre and Orton are. They're fucking fantastic. Great. Fantastic in the ring. All right? But I don't know how I feel about the finish. Luckily, this wasn't in the main event. Because if this was in the main event, I would have bitched about this a lot more. But since it wasn't in the main event, I'll give them a pass here. But clearly, this was to set up another match between Orton and McIntyre. It keeps Orton looking semi-strong because he didn't get hit with a finisher. He just got caught with a quick roll-up. But here's the thing. If they do another Orton versus McIntyre match, and I'm willing to bet we're going to get that at Payback in a week, what's the point? What's the point? I'm sitting here thinking, man, like, okay, why should Orton get another WWE title match? He lost clean. Yes, he didn't get hit with a Claymore kick. He didn't get pinned or submitted, in a devastating way, but he got caught with a roll-up. And the thing about it is, what I didn't like is McIntyre promised blood. He promised that Orton would pay. So here I am thinking Orton's, outside the ring, shocked after what just happened, and McIntyre's just over here celebrating. If I'm McIntyre, I would have got more payback. I wouldn't be satisfied. Yes, I won with a roll up, but I wouldn't be satisfied. And then my boy Donovan Mitchell hit 51 on the Nuggets. So Jazz with a 3-1 lead. Let's go Jazz, bro. Let's go Jazz. I would love to see the Jazz take out the Lakers in the next round if the Blazers can't get the job done. But anyway, we're not talking basketball today. But McIntyre, bro, if I'm the babyface and seeing what Orton's done, 2 Edge, 2 Ric Flair, 2 Shawn Michaels right in front of me, I would be going for more payback. Yes, I'm happy I defended my title, but after the match, if I'm McIntyre, I would have went after Orton again and then celebrated. You know what I mean? So I didn't really like that, but clearly this is going to be setting up another match at Payback next week, all right? I could see Orton versus McIntyre going all the way to Hell in a Cell. Really, because this is a feud that I think deserves Hell in a Cell. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. We have no confirmation of what's going to happen. But still, this was great. Loved what these two did in the ring. Fantastic stuff. But I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of the backslide ending, but I understand it. Like I said, I would probably be ripping this a little bit more if this was in the main event. But clearly, we're going to see more of Orton and McIntyre. And McIntyre deserves it. He gets a big moment here inside the Thunderdome. You can see the fans were happy behind him. So all in all, good stuff here with Orton and McIntyre. And we'll just see what happens. All right, we'll see what happens. Moving on. Falls Count Anywhere. So our main event. And before this, it was announced Keith Lee will be making his debut. I said this on the beginning of the podcast. But Keith Lee will be making his debut on Monday Night Raw next week. Or not next week. This week, actually. Keith Lee will be getting called up. We'll see him tomorrow night on Raw. We'll be talking about it on the podcast tomorrow night. So definitely, if you guys enjoyed the review, make sure you guys are here for the Raw review tomorrow night, because we will be talking about Keith Lee and his debut tomorrow night and everything else that happens. But anyway, Falls Count Anywhere for the Universal title. They had a good video package here, but gotta be honest, the match was disappointing. The match was absolutely terrible. The only reason why the match was in the main event was because of the ending, which we'll talk about in just a couple seconds, but this match was terrible. Terrible. I asked Paul, I don't know if Paul is still in the chat, but I was complaining about this on Discord, man. Braun Strowman in a main event of any show is a turnoff for me. Who the hell wants to see that? Who wants to see that nonsense? Nobody. Nobody wants to see Braun Strowman in the main event. And I love The Fiend, but he's running on borrowed time. He is this close to being buried, in my opinion. This close. And another thing that pissed me off is there was no Alexa Bliss. No Alexa Bliss. I understand, yes, you brought Alexa Bliss here to have the Fiend try to get to Strowman's head, but it really didn't do anything. It didn't do anything at the end of the day. So, they had Alexa Bliss involved, but Alexa didn't get involved in the match at all. I thought Alexa was going to turn heel and join the Fiend for good, but she never appeared. And I didn't even know this was a Falls Count Anywhere match. I didn't. But Corey Graves had a good quote going to the match. He said, "Hell is empty because the devils are here," with Strowman and the Fiend. I like that. The Fiend had a beautiful entrance, man. Beautiful entrance. If you guys watch his entrance with the lights off in your room, good stuff there. But the match itself was terrible. Strowman with his new look, he came out with like this camo vest. And they gave him pyro as well. But the match was terrible. Basically, the Fiend brought out a toolbox, and Strowman then countered by spearing the Fiend through the timekeeper's position. But then the Fiend got right back on his feet. But then he got chokeslammed onto the announce table. I don't know. That the WWE announce table doesn't break as easily anymore. Like Orton slammed McIntyre on the table earlier, and it didn't break. And we also saw freaking heavyweights with the Fiend and Strowman, but they still weren't able to break the announce table. So I don't know what was going on. So then, this being a Falls Count Anywhere match, what's the point of a Falls Count Anywhere match? Falls Count Anywhere. So I expect, when you have two superstars and the level of intensity that's supposed to be here with Strowman and Bray Wyatt, right? I expect them to be brawling all over the arena. Everywhere. It said, no, we don't get that. They made it out to the backstage area where all the superstars usually get warmed up before they enter the arena. They slammed each other through a couple walls, but that was it. They were only there for about 2 minutes. Then they made themselves back out to the ring. So the whole point of Falls Count Anywhere, I don't know, it was pointless and stupid if you ask me. It was stupid. Then we see Strowman basically get back into the ring. He hit a couple of running power slams, but the Fiend kept kicking out. Then Strowman got frustrated. He grabbed a box cutter from the toolbox, and then he speared the unholy hell. All right, or not? No, he didn't. I'm getting ahead of myself. We see Strowman take the box cutter, and he starts ripping up the ring. First thing that's going through my mind is this as AEW all over again with what we saw with Moxley and Kenny Omega back a couple months ago? That's what I was thinking. But this was bad. There you could see the wood. The Fiend rose out of nowhere, and he delivered like 3 or 4 consecutive Sister Abigails on the exposed win for the win. The last one was the best one, but still, this was disappointing. This match was not good. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. The match was not good. I'm telling you, and I love the Fiend, but freaking Braun Strowman in the main event, especially of SummerSlam, was supposed to be your second biggest show of the year. Like, what the hell were you doing, WWE? What the hell were you thinking? Come on here, get out of here with this garbage. This was not good, not good. But the Fiend wins the Universal Championship. Alexa Bliss didn't show up, and I'm just like, that's it. That's how we're ending this show. But no, out of nowhere, someone got speared. The Fiend gets speared, and at first I was like, is that Goldberg? Because in our Discord chat, we were talking about Roman Reigns earlier in the SummerSlam show, and we were like, Roman might never come back because of COVID, and trying to keep his family safe. Out of nowhere, we see a spear, and it's Roman Reigns. And, I kind of wish I did the live reaction stream, because if you guys saw my reaction to the Sasha Banks and Asuka match, and when Roman Reigns came back, I lost my mind. I'm not a big Roman Reigns fan. I respect him. I'm not the biggest Roman Reigns fan, and I am not happy because this could be terrible for the Fiend. But still, remember, this was the match we were originally supposed to get for SummerSlam. Remember, Roman Reigns was originally supposed to defeat Braun Strowman at WrestleMania. Or not Braun Strowman, Goldberg at WrestleMania. It was never supposed to be Strowman. And the plan was going to be for WWE to build the Fiend back up and to give us this match at SummerSlam. But now we have Roman back here tonight, spears the hell out of the Fiend, spears the hell out of Braun Strowman. Roman was hype. You could tell the virtual fans were hype. Everyone was like, holy crap. And I was hyped. This was great. This was clearly the only reason why Roman, or why this match was put in the main event, for Roman's return. And now it made sense. The whole SummerSlam tagline being, you'll never see it coming. I never saw Roman Reigns coming. Never. No one predicted this. There was no reports. There was no leaks. Nobody. All right, but I was very surprised to see Roman back. He looks in fantastic shape. He looks like he's lost some pounds as well. He has a new shirt. I think it's like Unleash Havoc or Wreak Havoc and Leave. I don't know if you can count this as a Roman heel turn. Because remember, the Fiend's supposed to be a babyface now. But I don't know. You know, they could easily do babyface versus babyface here. But clearly, Roman took the Universal title, the title he was supposed to win at WrestleMania, and he held it in the air. There's so many things that go along with this. It's going to be interesting to see where this go. Because instead of giving us Roman versus The Fiend versus Strowman, I mean, my bad, I'm getting my words mixed up. It's been a long podcast. But instead of giving us Roman versus The Fiend at Payback, what I would do is I would do a triple threat. I would do a triple threat. You know, you can easily have Roman come out and cut a promo on Friday. And then Strowman comes out saying he wants a rematch. And The Fiend, being the new champion, accepts to face both men, right? And then Roman can easily say, I'm coming for you, Fiend. And then he can also just say to Strowman, just say, you owe your entire career to me. Because we all know Strowman was not even going to be on the WrestleMania card. He was not even going to be on the WrestleMania card. And he owes his Universal title run, as bad as it was, he owes his Universal title run to Roman Reigns. All right. We see my boy Anthony. You guys, well, some of you guys know who Anthony is. Anthony is the guy who used to do this podcast with me. The Legit Shoot podcast used to be a two-man show. He used to be my tag team partner. But yeah, Anthony, good to see you in the chat, bro. You missed the rant of the century with Sasha Banks and Asuka, so you may want to go watch my 20-minute rant a little bit later, bro. But yeah, I did ignore your text because, you know, I didn't want to talk about it. Even though I knew what was going to happen, I didn't want to talk about it. I wasn't going to give you the satisfaction of me responding in that instance. But back to it, you know, what I would do here, I would do Strowman versus Roman versus Goldberg. Have Goldberg. I'm getting my mind. You guys can tell it's been a long stream. I'm getting tired. I would do the Fiend versus Roman versus Strowman triple threat match at Payback, right? Have Roman go after Strowman, being like, you owe your entire career to me, bitch. I don't know if Roman is a heel yet. I hope he is, but I don't know. I'm not going to believe it till I see it. I'm not going to call that a heel turn tonight. But what I would do, I would have, if you're going to have Roman win back the Universal Championship, what I would do is I would take the Fiend out. I would have Roman and Strowman take out the Fiend. I don't know how they do it. You know, maybe they put him out under an announce table. So at least it kind of keeps the Fiend going. Because if you do Roman versus the Fiend and the Fiend loses again, it's done. He's done. He's this close to being buried. This close. So what I would do is I would take out the Fiend beforehand. Do something creative. Right? And then if you really want to make Roman champion, have Roman spear Strowman for the victory. You know, it kind of makes symbolic sense. You know, have Roman be like, now I'm going to beat you. You know, since I stepped down, since I wasn't here to beat Goldberg at WrestleMania, you know, and you took my moment. You took the moment that should have been mine. Now I'm going to give you the receipt. I'm going to beat you, bitch. 1, 2, 3 in the ring and regain the Universal Championship. That's what I would do. And then if you want to do Roman versus the Fiend after that, sure. But that's the outcome I would go with. Tell me, guys, what you guys think of that. If I'm WWE, Roman versus The Fiend versus Strowman, that's to be the triple threat for WWE Payback next week. And like I said, it feels so weird, bro, because next week we have a pay-per-view. We have a pay-per-view next week. That's going to be crazy. But, man, oh, man. Edward, I see Edward Jones in the chat. Sasha's not a loser. Don't get mad, Edward, because Anthony, that's my boy. That's one of my, that's a good friend of mine. Don't get mad at him. He used to do this podcast with me way before you were a subscriber. So don't get mad at him. He's a Sasha Banks fan. He loves Sasha. It's just that he doesn't watch the main roster anymore. So he's just speaking facts. So please don't get mad at my boy, Anthony, Edward. But other than that, man, SummerSlam tonight. This was a good show. Will I say it's the best pay-per-view of the year? I don't know, but it's up there. This was a great SummerSlam. The build was terrible. But WWE Thunderdome, I love it. I love the way it looks. They need to fix the crowd audio. Hopefully they can figure that out for Monday Night Raw tomorrow night. But it was a great show. The matches were good. Sasha Banks versus Asuka. You guys got the rant you wanted. Sasha should have never won. If you were going to give us that outcome tonight, you just should have... Asuka should have never lost the title. If Asuka had never lost the title, and, you did Asuka versus Sasha tonight with Asuka as the champion coming in, I'm not complaining at all. I would have never complained. It's the fact that Sasha now has another 30-day title reign, less than 30 day title reign on her resume, never successfully being able to defend a singles title on the main roster. And even though Sasha is turning babyface, because her frustration with Bayley is coming, and no matter if that comes at Payback or later on, Sasha is going to be the one to take the title off of Bayley. Even though if you want to delay Sasha versus Bayley, because I've given the argument, I would have Bayley attack Sasha sometime in the next couple months, taking Sasha off television, having Sasha return, win the Women's Royal Rumble, turn babyface, and then go to WrestleMania, become a Grand Slam champion, get her first WrestleMania victory, and get her big moment, and give us a Sasha and Bayley match we've all been waiting for. That's what I would do. But either way, if we get Sasha versus Bayley now, I'm not going to complain. But if you want Mandy Rose, who is a babyface tonight, you could do Bayley versus Mandy Rose. Bayley needs a new challenger. So I would not mind that going forward. Mandy deserves the opportunity, But other than that, guys, that's about it. SummerSlam was a good show tonight. You guys got the rant you wanted with Sasha Banks. Sasha versus Bayley is coming, and I'm hyped. I just wish they went about it a better way. All right, I just wish they went about it a better way. But, that's about it. SummerSlam tonight. I got to give the show a thumbs up. I'm going to give SummerSlam a 7.5 out of 10. This was probably the best pay-per-view of the year. Probably the best pay-per-view of the year, or main roster-wise. Not talking about NXT. Because if we're talking about NXT, I think it was Portland back in February. That's probably the best pay-per-view of the year. But for the main roster, SummerSlam was amazing tonight. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. We went 1 hour, close to 1 hour and 50 minutes, close to 2 hours. So this is easily the longest podcast we've ever done. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Before you guys leave, if you guys enjoy the podcast, no matter if you guys disagree with me or not, I always say this, if you guys enjoy the podcast, leave a like on the video. So right before you guys leave a like on the video. It helps me up a lot. Also, man, if you guys are new to the channel, this is the best wrestling podcast on YouTube. I love JD, I love BC, and I'm going to listen to their reviews tomorrow, but this is the best podcast on YouTube because we tell it like nobody else does. This was a great show. Thank you guys so much. If you guys are new to the channel, leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you guys are new. Enable notifications by clicking the bell right next to my name, Fitz TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video, all right? I will be right back here tomorrow night, depending when you guys are watching this. I will be right here Monday night with the Monday Night Raw review. The debut of Keith Lee is coming, so that's going to be hype. They can't fuck up Keith Lee, right? They can't fuck up Keith Lee. Hopefully they won't, but Keith Lee's debut tomorrow night, and who knows what happens. Maybe we see Sasha and Bayley. We'll see what happens with Orton and McIntyre. Tomorrow night's Raw is going to be hype, so I cannot wait. WWE Thunderdome, and we'll be covering it right here on the podcast. Lastly, before I leave, yeah, check out the NXT TakeOver 30 review from last night. If you guys haven't already, check it out. It was a banger of a review. Thank you to everyone that joined me on Discord. Thank you to everyone that joined me on Twitter, the live tweet about SummerSlam. I apologize. I did not do a live reaction stream. Man, I really wanted to, and it would have been hyped, especially if you guys got to see my reaction to Sasha Banks versus Asuka, and especially Roman Reigns' return. So I do apologize for that. I might do a WWE Payback live reaction stream. Let's wait and see what the card looks like. But definitely, we'll be right back here with WWE Payback next week. So make sure you guys are here for that review as well. Thank you guys for the love and support. I'm going to get out of here. It's been a long day. Thank you guys for everything. Stay safe and healthy, guys. You guys are the best. Thank you to all the super chat donations. All right. Thank you to Ultra Instinct Paul. Thank you to the Birds. Thank you to JQ James for everything. You guys are amazing. I'll see you guys later, man. Have a great day, guys. Peace.